Ladies and gents, welcome back. 3 years ago, there was a pandemic that struck the world. It came across Canada especially. And the biggest issue with that was the government response. And so we've had, over the past few months, the National Citizens Inquiry into the response led by the government in order to take care of this pandemic that we found ourselves in. And lots of things have happened over the course of the pandemic. And, well, we wanted to investigate how this went down and where people have found themselves in the positions they have. And today I wanted to bring on constitutional lawyer Shawn Buckley to come talk about exactly what's happening with the inquiry. Shawn, thank you for joining me.
Oh, I'm really pleased to be here.
So where is this going? Now, a lot of people, when this first took off, there was a lot of support and people saying, what's going to happen with it? We had an inquiry into the use of the Emergencies Act, which we found was toothless, and it wasn't a waste of time. But where are we going with this citizens inquiry into the pandemic response?
Well, as you might know, the original plan was just to get some independent commissioners to go in 3 days in 8 different cities, so 24 days of hearing. And we're actually starting the Ottawa ones this week, so May 17th, 18th, and 19th, which is our last 8th city. And originally that was just our plan. Let's then have the commissioners come up with a report, make findings of fact, and then positive recommendations. And obviously try to have, some support in that to try and pressure governments to, adopt some of the recommendations. What we didn't expect, and this is super positive, is just the response has been absolutely fantastic. And we've had so many people sharing with us that they're thankful to have a voice. And we have a whole bunch of people still afraid in Canada to speak. So we have witnesses at the last minute back down because they're afraid of economic or social consequences. But those that do testify have just been so grateful, and they're now, we're just about done, and they're lining up. I think at our last meeting, we had 800 lay witnesses that had just applied, and it's okay, we can't stop. So we're now trying to figure out, how do we give these people a voice, because we feel a responsibility to have them. There's something about them giving their testimony under oath in front of commissioners, and maybe we can't do 4. I think by the time we're done, we're going to have about 300 witnesses, who have testified, which is quite incredible.
Wow.
But people are just lining up. So we're trying to figure out, do we do it maybe, lawyer, witness, one commissioner, and we'd have to, pre-publish that we're going to do this, but have virtual hearings, because there's something in having an audience that validates these people's story. And then people are finding this really therapeutic to hear. I don't know if you've watched a whole day of hearings, but you can't do it without crying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care, male, female, whatever. There are times when I'm up there as counsel leading people where it's please keep talking because I can't talk. You're too choked up, you're too emotional. I don't know how to describe what's happening, but it can't stop. And so we're not sure what that looks like, because the NCI really is, I couldn't identify 75% of the volunteers involved, because there's whole groups just doing things as needed. So the NCI is kind of just whatever people now want it to be. And I don't know what it's going to look like, because we're going to ask people to give us direction and say, what do you want us to do? What does this look like? And then we'll ask them to join in and do it, because that's just how volunteer things work. So where this is going, I don't know. I just know that we've touched a need. Canadians need to share their stories. And we just found out so much. One thing I didn't appreciate was people that, took one for the team and got vaccinated and were unfortunate and got injured.
Mm-hmm.
I know I shouldn't say that.
Well, no. So we have to, for the purposes of YouTube, we have to say that these things are safe and effective, and these are always the way it works. But the truth of the matter is, some people did find themselves.
Well, and where I wasn't going was even to be critical about that. But they're often being mistreated in the healthcare system, and I wasn't expecting that.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure, we need to have a bit of a national dialogue on that, because we've got a lot of people that are hurting that are not getting the attention that they need to be getting.
Yeah.
And so we're finding things that need to change that we weren't anticipating. At least I wasn't anticipating. And we really need. We have not treated each other well. Like, regardless of where you are in the COVID conversation, we've become divided, and we're still not able to even talk to each other. And we this has started a healing process, but we have a long way to go. Like, we have a long way to go yet. So I'm I don't know. The whole thing's been very therapeutic for me, but I feel emotionally broken from having gone through it. I mean, it's a good thing, um, because I've had to participate in broken people sharing their stories as part of their healing journey.
So
And if you, yeah,
how did a constitutional lawyer end up at the helm of this? How did you find yourself
the
in
truckers,
say that again?
the truckers,
The
the
truckers.
truckers, the truckers. I was when I saw the trucker convoy. It I had been living in fear. I had been feeling like I had no power to do anything. And then I see these people taking a stand, and I see Canadians lining up along the highway and under bridges, and then having this massive, isn't it the biggest demonstration we've had in our history, like, likely, and all peaceful. And I became inspired. It's kind of like, okay, and I understand those leaders are being hammered, and we have political prosecutions going on. And I've just kind of realized just recently, I have to get involved somehow in making sure that we're taking care of these people, and making the whole world aware of what's happening to them.
Hmm.
Because we can't have people take a stand for us and then not support them, and we haven't been. So I want to get involved in changing that. But they woke me up, and they gave me hope. And then I just started to get involved in the freedom movements in different ways, and somehow ended up in this initiative. Like, I can't even tell you how. I just found myself with a group of other volunteers, and now we're doing this. So, yeah, so I don't know. But anyone listening, you have to get involved. It's time now to understand you're not alone, and you can find groups, or you can start your own group. You just figure out how to plug in, and let's get our institutions working for us again.
Hmm.
And I just decided the truckers inspired me. Okay, I have to do whatever I can to get our institutions working for us again. And I kind of found my way into the group that formed the NCI.
That's brilliant.
So,
That's brilliant. So now the NCI was meant to be coming to a close here. You said that it's just there's been too much outreach that you're just going to keep going with it. So this is going to be
well, yeah. So now we're trying to figure out. Well, yeah, it's clear that Canadians would be disappointed if we stopped, and it's also clear that we've become something bigger that doesn't even involve us. Like, people are now just doing things and taking initiatives, because just this watching people tell their stories is inspiring them. So we feel we have to continue, and how that looks is going to depend on how people want it to look, because to get anything done, we have to get people to volunteer to do it, right? So yeah, so it's really, and even that in itself has been quite amazing. Like, we were on the train from Quebec City today, and I was shown. So there's a group of volunteers that are, because we didn't have the resources to actually get transcripts of the testimony. So some volunteers have just on their own decided, okay, well, there's software that will do transcripts, and then we'll get other volunteers to listen and verify and make sure that it's all good, and we will present for it to the NCI actual transcripts. Well, you almost feel like crying when it's just like, well, we didn't have the resources to do that, and here are just some group of people are getting together and doing that. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, this stuff just keeps happening. I can't tell you how many times we're like, we've literally been in a day of crashing this project, and it it just keeps going because somehow the need is filled at the 11th hour. It's just it's humbling.
So what was the original decision to take the whole thing on the road rather than just, hunkering down in one spot and telling everybody else to come out to where you are? This has been a traveling gig. What was the decision making on that?
Well, have you ever got together with a small group of people and decided to do something and you didn't realize how colossal it was? So when you're just at the very beginning of something going, hey, why don't we, structure so we've got actually a citizen inquiry into how this went, and then, well, obviously we have to march across the country or else it's not a national inquiry. Okay, like, do you want to know how dumb it was for us to do this weekly? Like, why wouldn't you throw a week in between just to get organized? Like, it's yeah. So I think it was naivety, but again, somehow it's come together, and I'm not sure how, but I it makes you feel like you're part of something bigger, because the way God moves is He gives you tasks that you can't do, and then when it comes together, you realize it wasn't you, right?
That's amazing. Actually, that's profound. So,
So,
so I understand people can watch this live streaming on the internet. Where can they find that?
well, there's actually several places you can find it because a whole bunch of other people live stream us.
Okay.
Our PD guy, who is just wonderful, streams it to a server. So if you contact us and anyone wants to live stream it, we can, but we stream it on Rumble, we stream it on YouTube till they take it down during the day. Where else do we stream it? We stream it on Twitter, I think. I was just talking to my wife in the background. So yeah, so if you go to our website, we have like it should be pretty easy to find to watch us live,
Okay.
and yeah, and then it's all taped and posted afterwards. And the eventual plan is to break down every witness's testimony separately and all of that. And then we've got whole teams of volunteers who just like pull and clip videos and post them on the social media thing. And again, all volunteers, just people that have decided to do that. So it's really kind of fun.
Well, it's amazing that that this is all happening. It's amazing that you're able to join this force of people to go ahead and do this, and just the amazing turnout that we're seeing for this. Thank you so much, Shawn Buckley, for joining me today and telling us about how this is going and where it's going next. And we'll make sure to have all the links in the description down below.
Thank you, and thanks for having me on. It's kind of exciting, and anyone who wants to get involved, just join us.